This podcast is coming to you from the Lincoln Square in New York City. It's on the Upper West Side at the intersection of Columbus Avenue and West 63rd Street. There's a tiny park. I'm sitting in that park, and this is where the podcast is coming from. I wanted to touch upon the core theme that I've been exploring in the past two podcasts. Here I'm going to talk more about the big picture, what I call the big picture. What is the big picture? And I believe in painting the big picture before I talk about the specifics of my particular tech startup. It's very important to get the big picture right to do well as a tech startup. The tech startup lives inside that big picture. So what is the big picture? The big picture is what AI and robotics will do. A lot of people have thought about this topic. A lot have been vocal about it. And the guy with one of the largest megaphones, Elon Musk, he has been pretty precise, pretty specific on some things. For example, he has said, money goes away, as in there is no more currency. In the future that he sees, there is no more currency. That conclusion is not hard to reach. If you look at where AI and robotics stand today and where AI and robotics are expected to go, right? You are talking about triple digit economic growth rates even in mature economies like the United States. Where 5% was considered unthinkable. But because of AI and robotics, forget 5%, forget 15%. A mature economy like the United States could achieve something like 105%. The big picture is that we are about to see massive increases in productivity, all due to AI and robotics. All else equal. How massive? Well, there is no parallel. There's nothing in the past that gives a hint. What we call economics is essentially scarcity economics. In fact, that is the only economics we have known, is scarcity economics. But something fundamental is about to happen, for which the whole science, the whole discipline of economics is not ready. They don't have the vocabulary for it. They don't have the concepts for it. Because it's about to be a whole new paradigm. It is like if you only have the physics for liquid water, and that water is about to hit boiling point and it is about to become steam, then all that physics will no longer work. because the dynamics of steam is fundamentally different from water. What is about to happen in economics is much bigger than that. It's a whole new reality, right? What we call economics has been scarcity economics. But the economics we're about to see, and very soon, this is not 100 years out. This is more like 10, 15, 20 years out. That's it. That's not a long time horizon. We are about to see abundance economics. And economics as we have known it is completely unprepared. Water is about to become steam, but all our physics only describes liquid water. We don't have the math and the vocabulary and the concepts for steam. That is where we stand. So the big picture is that due to AI and robotics, and this will impact every country on earth. This is not going to be limited to a few countries. This is not going to be limited to the United States. This is not going to be limited to China. This is planetary. You should look at the fastest projects, the fastest mega projects like the Beijing airport of the past 10 years. And they look fast, but they are not fast enough. Some of the projects we'll see in Africa over the next 10 years, 15 years, 20 years will happen at a much, much faster pace than whatever has happened in China during the past 10 years. Due to AI and robotics. I'm not suggesting the Chinese will sit still. But what I'm saying is the mega projects that will unfold in places like Africa will be much, much faster than whatever we have seen in China during the past 10, 15 years. All due to AI and robotics. So that is the big picture. The big picture is that due to AI and robotics, we'll see huge gains in productivity. There'll be so much more production. So the first impact will be that the prices will start going down. We call it deflation when the prices start going down. First, the prices go down, then the prices go down dramatically. And ultimately, because there is so much production, there is so much production of goods and services, the prices go to zero. And at that point, there is no more currency. No more dollar, no more euro, no more yuan, no more rupee, no more currency. That is what Elon Musk is saying. And that shouldn't be hard for people to understand because it is so obvious. It is simple extrapolation of what is already happening today. What we have seen happen to digital goods due to the internet decades ago is also about to happen to physical goods and real world services. It's like somebody digitized a song and put it online, and now it was free for everybody else. Right? We have seen that happen again and again and again. That same thing is about to happen to physical goods and real life services like education and healthcare. I was lucky enough to go to the top school in my country where I grew up, Nepal. When you go to a school like that, you end up with pretty good teachers. But now, due to AI, every kid on the planet, anywhere, is about to get the best possible teacher there can be for free in their first language, 24/7, a teacher that is infinitely patient, always available, always around. I did not have that. When I attended the top school in Nepal, I did not have that. But now every kid in the world is about to have that 24/7 AI tutor who seems to know every subject in their first language, and is always available, always infinitely patient, can explain the same thing 10, 20 different ways. That's abundance. The same thing is about to happen to healthcare. So the big picture that I've described, what ends up happening in concrete terms is, I think in 10 years we will have as many trillion-dollar companies as there are billion-dollar companies today. And that is a conservative estimate. I think I'm going to be proven wrong, because there will be many times more trillion-dollar companies than what I'm saying right now. That is the big picture. So, of those trillion-dollar companies in 10 years, how many are already up and running? I think plenty. I think dozens, maybe more than 100. But do they know that, do those dozens of companies, do those more than 100 companies, do they know right now that they're going to be trillion-dollar companies in 10 years? Well, I don't get the impression that they do. And if they do, they're not talking about it. And so I'm approaching some of those companies and I'm offering them a product. The product is a vision. I call it the Grand Solara Vision. Solara is my term for a trillion-dollar company. A unicorn is a billion-dollar company. A Solara is a trillion-dollar company. So a Grand Solara Vision, there's the word vision in there. A Grand Solara Vision is a roadmap for a company as to how it will become a trillion-dollar company in 10 years. That's the Grand Solara Vision. And I'm offering that as a product to some company, saying, hey, you can hire me and I'll create that Grand Solara Vision for your particular company. I will show exactly how you're going to be a trillion-dollar company in 10 years. So that vision is a product that I'm selling right now. I have approached several entrepreneurs. And the Grand Solara Vision is the starting point. If you are rejecting the Columbus paradigm of doing tech startups, which has been the norm even for, organizations like Y Combinator, the celebrated tech incubator. I'm rejecting the Columbus paradigm. I'm saying it no longer works. It no longer is optimum. What we need is the Neil Armstrong way. Neil Armstrong did not step into a helicopter or a jumbo jet. He and the team that sent him knew they needed a rocket. They needed the right vehicle, and the rocket was the only right vehicle they knew. They also knew the moon is much, much further away from India, right? India is not far, but the moon is much, much further away than how far India was from Europe.
Yeah, there's tables over there, there's more tables over there.
But to the Neil Armstrong thing, there was absolutely no confusion as to where they are going. They knew precisely where they are going, and they had a minute-to-minute roadmap to getting there. I think a tech startup that might want to become a $1 trillion company in 10 years, they can't go the Columbus way. They have to go the Neil Armstrong way. And the first step in that Neil Armstrong way is what I'm offering, which is the Grand Solara Vision. I've offered this to several tech entrepreneurs saying, hey, I think yours could be a $1 trillion company. Why don't you hire me and I will create that Grand Solara Vision for your particular tech startup. As an outside consultant, it will be non-binding. So that is the big picture. Also, the big picture that I have drawn has implications for tech entrepreneurs like Elon Musk himself. Elon Musk and everybody like Elon Musk. How? Okay, so this moneyless economy that Elon Musk has started talking about in the recent months, I've been talking about it for a few years. But he had reached that conclusion independent of me, and his path has been AI and robotics. You know, he is one of the people who are on the cutting edges of AI and robotics today. And so from that vantage point, when he looks forward in time, he sees what he sees. He sees a moneyless economy, an economy where money is no longer relevant because the productivity gains are so huge. If you produce an abundant amount of goods and services, then money simply dissolves. Money becomes completely irrelevant. That is what Elon Musk is saying, right? I'm quoting him there. So if we end up in an economy where there's no more money, and he says 10 years, I'm saying 10, 15, 20 years. Neither of us are saying 50 years or 100 years. It is 10, 15, 20 years. That's it. It's right around the corner. So, in the near future, where we end up in an economy where there is no more money, right? No more money. What happens to Elon Musk's net worth? Whether it is 500 billion or a trillion or more. What happens to that net worth? Guess what? When there is no more money, Elon Musk's net worth is zero. Because that net worth is only relevant in an economy where money exists. But in a future economy where money disappears, Elon Musk's net worth is zero. Not only Elon Musk, but everybody else's. That's Jeff Bezos, that's Mark Zuckerberg, Larry Page, Sergey Brin, that whole crowd of people. Every tech startup billionaire, their net worth goes to zero, which is not bad news because they all have everything money can buy and plenty of it. Because there's abundance. So now coming back to the big picture question, I go one step further and say, if we already know the end point, right? If we already know the end point to be an economy where money no longer exists, and hence, since there's no more money, Elon Musk's net worth is zero, the only question is, what do we do in the transition point between now and then? Now is today, and then is, by some estimate, 10 years, by some estimate 15 years, at most 20 years. What do we do in these 10, 15, 20 years? How do we make this transition as smooth as possible? I have a few ideas. This is my idea. So somebody like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or all those guys, I don't know, Mackenzie Scott, all of them, right? So when a tech entrepreneur, his net worth is derived from equity in the company that they're running, they're building, right? So the shares keep going up because you're building a great company, and so your net worth keeps climbing up. But that money, your net worth, you don't use it for consumption, and you don't use it to invest in your own company. It's money that just sits there. So what I'm saying is this: consume all you want to consume. There's no upper limit. Consume all you want to consume. I'm not asking you to become a monk. Also, quite literally nobody, no tech entrepreneur sells his shares and then invests that money into his company. The investment money always seems to come from external sources. That is what I observe. Which means this net worth money, be it $1 trillion or 500 billion or 200 billion or 20 billion, it does not go towards consumption. It does not go towards investment. It just sits there. Well, so what's going to happen is going to just sit there, do no good, and then disappear in 10, 15, 20 years. It will collapse to zero. So my idea is this. I know as a tech entrepreneur, you need the power to run the company, right? And that power comes from your equity stake. I get that. So what we do is we split those shares. So we separate the voting power from the wealth, and we sell the shares. So you still have the voting power, but the wealth part is now sold and gone, and now you have real money. And we use that money to end poverty globally by completely bypassing NGOs and by completely bypassing governments. How? India has this thing called Aadhaar, which is the digital ID system, and UPI, it's a digital payment system. I think all Indians today are connected to that Aadhaar UPI, which means you could design a money transfer system where the money goes directly to the beneficiaries. There is zero leakage. The money does not go to any NGO and the money does not go to any government. It goes directly to the beneficiaries. I'm proposing we use that where it exists and we build it where it doesn't exist. For example, it doesn't exist in sub-Saharan Africa. So we build it. It doesn't seem to exist in Brazil, so we build it. It exists in India, so we use it. So people like Elon Musk and Mackenzie Scott could end poverty globally by engineering direct cash transfers to the poorest people in the world. That is what I'm proposing. And the thing is, this is not a wealth tax. This is not a charity donation. This is engineering. And it is completely voluntary. And it completely bypasses NGOs and governments. And it is totally revolutionary in that it ends poverty everywhere very fast. And it is more than about ending poverty. It is about AI safety. It is about digital inclusion and AI safety. It is about getting everybody involved on a planetary scale. We are talking about money to the tune of trillions of dollars that is not being used for consumption or for investment in any company or for any purpose at all. So this is money that's going to just sit there until it ends, until it dissolves in 10 or 15 or 20 years. I'm talking about that money. I'm talking about putting that money to good use, the best possible use, which is to end poverty globally. And that is my proposal to the billionaires of the world, and that is the big picture that we need to be looking at.